area funny. I'm kind of feeling uncomfortable right now, but what is getting comfortable is the start of this race, as everyone, Sozeman and Khanster are started with concrete. So, about Concrete Man stage is usually the general starting point of Mega Man 9 runs, not necessarily because it's one of those stages where it uses the least amount of utility. Actually, we're coming here because of utility, because the concrete shot is easily one of the best weapons in the game.
Yeah, concrete is just way too strong. It's almost Mega Man 2-esque because we keep talking about 9 versus 2, and in 2 you even go to a bunch of stages first for items more necessarily than good buster order. Soze taking care of these elephants nicely. Just 3 giant elephants in a row, each with 15 hit points. Khanster using that ladder on the first one just to maintain some health.
Sozeman going through them very quickly. Khanster is about to go through the more dangerous one with the pits, but yeah, he matches right through and trend that final elephant like butter, while Sozeman is about a few screens away from the last stretches of Concrete Man stage on his way to Concrete Door.
And Khanster's here. He has a plan. Definitely going to just make sure he can get through the end stages here, and is not going to get slowed down by anything. You see him even grabbing those bolts worth 20. E-tanks cost 30 a pop, and bolts are surprisingly rare in this game. That said, Sozeman is through the boss gates, meeting Concrete Man. Let's see what happens here. Go ahead.
Yeah, for the Concrete Man, we really don't want him to jump so much. We want him to stay underground as much as possible. Even when he shoots his concrete shot, as long as he's up close, he is firing all 3 of the concrete shots, but since they're so close together, they actually come out kind of like one whole unit. And it looked like Sozeman had a pretty decent fight. We had some jumps, but Sozeman is able to take out Concrete Man very quickly. Let's see how Khanster takes him down.
Yeah, not able to jump in time and avoid the shots. And now he's just pinned against the wall. Buster only does 1 point of damage, and you can see there that spread of concrete shots. When all 3 of them are spread out, they can be a little annoying, but Concrete Man is still being pretty nice, it looks like.
Yeah, very few jumps. Actually, I'm kind of for a man that's usually one of the big boys in the Mega Man series, he's surprisingly fast. So moving around, dodging him is actually a pretty daunting task in some cases.
Very nice concrete fight, actually, from Khanster. Lots of dodging, lots of shooting across the room, but he only took that one early hit, really. Kind of got out of that situation, and he was off to the races. Meanwhile, Sozeman into Magma Man, the second stage, and you can already see how useful Concrete Shot is. It's one-shotting a lot of enemies. He's using it to make some jumps a little easier, and that's the big thing.
You also saw Sozeman using a little extra utility that Concrete Shot is able to do. On the enemies, when you form the block, you can actually jump a little bit, and depending on the time, you can actually do a small little zip for a couple of extra pixels. Very useful for getting a little bit of that movement edge.
Khanster shorting the jump a little too much there in that first screen. It's going to lose a little bit of time, but it is at least the first screen.
Meanwhile, Sozeman, don't know how to pronounce all of a sudden, but
I believe it is Sozeman. Yeah, you got it.
But regardless of the matter, defeat the Chanky Dragon very quickly and going through this large stretch of magma lasers, which are, as one would expect, instant kill, but the concrete shot just makes them pretty much a non-threat. Actually, Sozeman was actually, well...
He wanted it anyway!
That's dedication.
Yeah, that's the main reason to go to Concrete Man before Magma Man, is just having that concrete shot to freeze those lasers, and you just save whole cycles. It's a ton of time. The concrete shot itself on Magma Man, I don't even know how much damage it does because this is going to be a buster fight here. Magma Man's just going to jump around. He can jump 1 or 2 of these little sections, and you just want to keep shooting him. That's all there is to it. The hardest part of this is knowing how to walk underneath him. And yeah, this is a great fight.
Yeah, very clean, very evenly paced. But yeah, you would think you would like to have the tornado blow for this fight, and yes, it is his weakness. But actually, for the route, we would like to actually go to Tornado Man as late as possible, because one of the things that you got to keep in mind is we're gonna be needing Rush Jet very, very soon, and you'll only be able to get Rush Jet after you defeat 5 Robot Masters. So as a result, it's very important to route in its make the route in such a way that once you get Rush Jet will be used to its fullest effect. And of
Yeah,
course, Tornado Man is one of those stages.
Yeah, Plug, Tornado, and Splash you're going to see very late in the run. The reason you're seeing those 2 Buster fights, like you said, it's 5 Robot Masters before you can get the Rush Jet. So we're kind of going down 2 different paths here. Sozeman now in Galaxy, which is weak to Concrete. We'll see if Concrete goes there or to Hornet, who's weak to Magma. Khanster actually now into that Magma fight while Soze starts Galaxy Man, which is Rush Coil the stage. Khanster in a little bit of trouble here, actually.
Right now, he got a pretty good pace, but yeah, the pace was only going on for so long. Magma Man does claim his prize of a dead Mega Man. Meanwhile, Sozeman is using these helicopter enemies to go through this stretch of screens faster. They're usually set to make you fall into spikes, but if you know what you're doing like Sozeman does, you know when to properly jump and use the helicopters to go through the area very, very quickly.
So far, so good. Rush Coil, just way too useful throughout this whole stage, really. You're going to see it equipped pretty much up until literally the boss gate, where Concrete is actually useful for one little speed up.
Khanster finally taking out Magma Man, getting his revenge after the unfortunate death. So we're going to see where he goes, if he goes to Galaxy Man or if he goes to Hornet.
You see Soze's coming up on the last real screen of Galaxy here, where it's another one of these helicopter guys to go a little faster. But this one, I think, is the trickiest one to use properly. He's going to actually clear things out before taking the ride. Playing it safely here.
Go on.
Ooh, doing it the fast way with a triple shot.
Khanster is going to Galaxy. Meanwhile, Sozeman is about to fight Galaxy himself and didn't quite get a favorable pattern. The pattern that you would like to see Galaxy Man use is something that we like to call 2 swoops, where he actually swoops across the ground and not go in the air. It allows you to plug more concrete shots in, but Sozeman actually making good of, in spite of the RNG that was given. Very quick fight.
Yep, he used that shot against the wall, which is something you'll see a lot in the first fight against Galaxy Man when you're not as concerned with conserving concrete ammo. Just able to get up higher to freeze the black hole faster so he can start hitting Galaxy Man faster. Very nice. Khanster scaring me with some of these jumps, but using that helicopter thing. One thing you'll see in this game all the time, every time they beam in, you're holding A to buffer that jump, save like 6 frames every time that happens. Same with at the top of a ladder, jump off the top of the ladder, save 6 frames every time it happens. One of the little stupid time saves that's almost common knowledge in this game that you might not notice if you're not looking for it.
Sozeman continuing the Rush Coil trend, using it for the first half of Hornet Man stage, trying to save a little bit of a menu since you're already activating it. But of course, we're only going to be using the Rush Coil for so long, because up next comes our very favorite flower here. And not necessarily good position. Still on the left side, but you would like to have that flower up on one of the upper top platforms to get the fastest flower kill.
Yeah, being able to just turn a direction and go is the best way to do it. Soze does only use the 5 shots in that flower fight, though, which is important because you have 1 shot of concrete to give to do the strat he's doing here. Where you keep using concrete for this 1 shot, so you can jump over that wall after blocking the missile. That's the only reason to keep concrete equipped the rest of the stage outside of saving the menus.
Khanster opting to not use the helicopter enemy to try to speed up the area, going to just walk it out in yeah, he's using the normal route to get to not Magma Door, but Galaxy Door. Meanwhile, speaking of Magma, was probably why I got myself clustered up to begin with. Magma Bazooka just tears apart Hornet Man because the Magma Bazooka is one of the few weapons that have this special stacking property where all 3 shots, especially when charged, deal every single damage. So you would like to hit all 3 shots of at least a charged Magma Bazooka to get the fastest possible kill on Hornet Man.
Very nice out of Sozeman. Khanster getting 3 jumps and no swoops out of Galaxy Man, not freezing that black hole though. That does make it tricky to not get hit while moving up close to him. Gets his kill at least. Woo!
All right, so Gm1, I'm almost probably would say this is probably one of the ROM hackiest stages. Lots of enemies, lots of awkward spike placement, and he's opting to use Buster to go through this stretch of screens. You could also see Concrete use, but he's probably doing this to save a menu before going to Hornet Chaser and continuing on before we reach the mid boss.
Record does use Buster in that screen. It's slightly faster because no menuing, but it's a little trickier as a result. If you take more than a couple of hits, you probably should have just switched to Concrete. But go for gold, right? Another spike wall there. I love what you're saying there about ROM hackiest, because that was one of the early comments I saw about this game. There's way too many spikes in a couple of stages. Good cheese ball from Sozeman there. Using the Hornets to kind of chase him out of the ceiling. Magma Bazooka from there just takes care of business. And then this little screen here. That is a lot easier than it looks once you see it. That triple shot is just so useful for hitting enemies low on the screen.
Let's see if he does this swing. Probably one jump. Very nicely done. Easily one of the sticking points in the entire stage. And you see it just done clean and quick. So he's going to be on his way to the Gm1 fight. What you're going to hopefully see from Sozeman is the fact that he's going to try to use 2 black hole bombs to get as many hits, well, eventually kill Gm1. So the thing about Gm1 is that when you jump, he jumps. So he's trying to manipulate the black hole bomb and his very extensive hitbox to try to defeat him within 2 black hole bombs, and that looked like 3. Kind of probably lost a little bit of the flow and just wound up needing to use a 3rd one.
I think the first one was too low, so Gm1 just never went outside the hitbox. The whole jumping mechanic thing, I think the way it works is when Gm1 leaves that hitbox, then he becomes vulnerable to it again. Like the game forgets he's already been hit by it. And just manipulating Gm1's not that bad. Khanster having a little trouble here in Hornet Man stage as well with this. He's going to get sent back again because he keeps getting hit by the scissors.
And unfortunately, wound up taking a dive on the spikes, trying to readjust himself. But fortunately, he does go back just to the midpoint after he beats the flower, so he's not too far back. But the time he spent trying to get off and on these retracting platforms are going to set him back even more.
Yeah. So Sozeman now, having completed 5 Robot Masters, is armed with Rush Jet and can go into those other 3 stages we were talking about earlier. Splash Woman, it's fine to go there first. Your options are Plug and Splash, because Splash, you have Hornet, which is her weakness. Plug, of course, we already have that weakness, 2 out of Jewel. So Sozeman's coming up here on the bubble skip. If you've played Mega Man 5 on the NES, this should look very familiar, except we don't have super arrows.
You can argue that it's easier, but it's the fact of the matter is you still need to position yourself properly with the Rush Jet and use these small little bubbles properly to vertical transfer to the next screen so it can use the Rush Jet yet again in order to get to the top of the screens. And even then, you're still not done with the Rush Jet, because these moving tiny platforms here, you're going to see Sozeman actually use Rush Jet to skip as much of it as possible. So we got some very nice Rush Jet usage from Sozeman here as he goes by those 3 screens, while Khanster does eventually defeat Hornet Man.
Yep, I would be in that it's easier in this game camp. It just feels easier to manipulate Rush Jet than it does to do anything with super arrows, but that's just me. Good stage. We're into the splash fight here.
So the splash fight, what were you about to say, Cav?
No, pretty much what you're about to say. Those hornets are kind of tracking. Those fish kind of come through, and sometimes they intercept the hornets almost. Sozeman doesn't care about anything we have to say because Splash Woman's already down.
It's just a consequence of being like-minded. But yeah, as Cav was saying, we're pretty sure next up is going to be Plug, because one of the main caveats to at least of this route is that you need to do Plug before Tornado. It's almost pretty much a must, mostly just because of weakness. You really don't want to deal with Tornado Man with Buster in this case. So in this case, so as a result, you're going to be seeing Plug before Tornado. And of course, Plug Man, you kind of need to be particular about your movement. Cat, would you like to explain why?
So this stage runs on a global timer. This is a stage that has our disappearing, reappearing blocks, the Yoku blocks, and their cycle starts as soon as the stage does. So already Sozeman's lost quite a bit of the cycle, and that's why you're starting on that third block. My goodness, he's going for it anyway. So a lot of the strats for this stage do revolve around knowing where you are in that cycle, and that was insane going through the bottom there. Good work, Sozeman. So I'm still impressed by that. So
you gotta have that much confidence to try to go through that, because since you're probably going over spike pits and bombless pits, one awkward movement of the rush jet and you're pretty much out of luck.
Yeah, and he's got to be a little careful right here. He knew to jump over that block as it appeared, which is really good. That is an easy way to just take a death in this stage. I almost would be an advocate. It's, I think, like 4 or 5 seconds every cycle of blocks. But especially as you're like starting to get your time down and it's not there yet, it is almost worth it to just keep your strat the same and just wait a full cycle before you even begin doing anything. And Sozeman just not even caring about the cycle and going for it. It was beautiful.
Khanster having a little bit of trouble with the swing, but is able to actually continue on getting the swinging platform to a point where he can actually fall through. So he should be on his way to the Jewel Man fight very shortly. Meanwhile, Sozeman is about to take on the Plug fight. In the weakness Jewel Satellite, you have exact ammo to kill him. So you can't fire too quickly, otherwise you hit iframes and you waste a satellite. But Sozeman actually wound up doing it very cleanly. So that's pretty much 7 down and he's on his way to Tornado.
Khanster not able to get Jewel completely locked in there. The trick with Jewel is whenever you jump, Jewel jumps. So that's how you get Jewel out of the hitbox. It looked like Khanster was kind of either jumping a little too late, maybe taking damage and unable to jump in time. But not too big of a problem. Still gets through Jewel Man without a lot of trouble. But that does leave him, I think at this point, 2 stages behind.
And one of those stages is the one that Sozeman is on now. So Tornado Man is gonna be basically rush jet the stage, because we're gonna be skipping a lot of platforming, especially these particular magnetic batteries. These magnetic batteries are actually pretty slow moving. They rotate Mega Man up and down and all around. So of course, if you wind up jumping off at the wrong time, you can actually fall off into the abyss below. So of course, we say no to platforming and basically use the jet, but we're not going to be done with the jet quite yet.
Yep, and that's why we're getting that large drop there. Jet is really useful, not just for the 2 battery sections, but this little kind of intermediate middle area. There's a couple of vertical screens that we're going to see Jet get used on, just to, you know, not have to walk all the way across here, not have to worry about fighting and killing everything here. There are strats with other weapons that work pretty well for getting through these screens relatively quickly, but they all involve menuing, which is slower than just not menuing and crashing through it with Jet.
Speaking of Jet, here's probably the final portion where we're going to be using Jet, because Tornado Man does feature weather gimmicks. So this particular rain section, you got the rain and the wind going against Mega Man. So if he jumps the wind is actually going to slow Mega Man down, so he uses a jet to bypass that area. But here, it's going to actually help Mega Man in pushing him along. So as long as you jump, you will get a lot of speed. And Sozeman did an excellent job showing how that particular set of screens are done on his way to the Tornado Man fight.
And now Tornado Man. We want Tornado to stay either on the ground or at least stay up against the ceiling. This is just the worst position for him to be in. Plug just runs along the floor and the walls. So if Tornado's hanging out in open space, it is just a pain to hit him.
Yeah, that would like to call not being a bro. So Tornado Man, very unbro of you. Khanster being a little interesting going through the moving platform areas in Splash Woman stage, using the black hole bomb and its suction effect to clear out some of the enemies. The black hole bomb is actually really strong against most enemies. Well, most weaker enemies and almost one-shots.
Yeah, it is extremely useful when you're just kind of picking up the game, when you're looking for ways to just get through a screen. Black hole bomb and tornado together especially. Just clear out enemies. If you're having any trouble with the screen, if you need like a plan B or whatever your backup strat is, they're both excellent options to just kind of say, you know what, I need just a second here, pause, clear the screen, unpause.
Sozeman opting to use the jewel satellite for this area. So at the cost of a menu, this is actually a good race strategy. It's very safe, and especially for as strong as the jewel satellite is, it pretty much just carves a path of destruction on those first sets of screens with up and down enemies and birds on his way to this rush jet section, where actually he's kind of doing something different.
Yep, the intention here is to use Tornado to you raise these fans up. That's from the developer. Tornado, very expensive weapon. We want to keep Tornado for later on, and honestly, using the jet's just faster. That first screen, I just want to throw out there too, right? It feels like that's a screen where if you go through it without the jewel perfectly, like it's the speed of that menu faster, so you're only saving like a second or two. The moment you take a hit from anything on that screen, you've lost that second, so it's almost better to just do it. Sozeman still has concrete out. Is he going to use one shot here? Can't blame him for not using jet. That first Magnum Beam jump on jet is probably one of the more dangerous jumps in the whole game. Outside of Wily 2, at least. Khanster in trouble here.
Just didn't have the iframes last enough to make it across to save himself from that bed of spikes. Pretty much the consequence of just being off cycle of the Yoku blocks. Also with some of the enemy placement that just put him there to begin with.
I'm telling you, Mega Man 9, like you said, has a couple of Kaizo-esque stages, ROM hacky stuff, where it knows.
Well, speaking of Kaizo and ROM hacky stuff, thank goodness no one really came up with an idea like this, because the spike pushers are probably one of the most, if not the most annoying bosses in Mega Man 9. The concept of this boss is you're pushing this ball of spikes in a rhythmic pattern, not really matching because you can actually kind of deny shots that way. But you're pushing them into these enemies and destroying them, and you're pretty much doing it as much as possible until they're all dead. There are options to do it, but it looks like Sozeman is using Plug Ball as his option after using Buster for a bit.
Plug does push it a little bit further. You see that enough to know it's probably valuable in one way or another. That does just leave you with one extra weapon meter to fill up for the M tank later on, so it's probably worth doing still. Wily 2 does have the worst jump in the game. It looks like Soze's going to use Coil to get through this first section, which might just be to save some ammo. Jet is another option here to save the menuing, but Sozeman's using this Rush Coil to great effect here, saving probably 2 or 3 summons of Rush. Giving him a little more energy for later. That's going to be important for some of those really Kaizo-ish jumps.
Well, we got one like you said, the most dangerous jump coming up, but of course we got to deal with a little extra platforming, even with ignoring these fake platform makers, using the rush jet to get over that area. Pretty
I
smart.
like it.
Got the worst flower, unfortunately, as like a balancing act.
He handled it very well, though. And that spike jump that he just kind of rush jet over is probably the worst room in the game, just because that jump is ridiculously tight. I think it's been said there's like 4 pixels you can make that jump from and not get spiked.
And speaking of spikes, this is one of the worst stretches of screens in the game, especially underwater with the small ceilings above. It's very easy to bonk your head and fall into the spikes as a consequence. Wally 2 is pretty much rough jump central.
Yeah, you could see Sozeman was slowing down there, and with this being a best of 3, you could look for it next time too. Just kind of wiggling Mega Man forward so that you're looking for the forward pixel of his back foot to be even with the edge of the platform. That's a safe spot to make the jump from every time. So Khanster took a game over here in Plug, still plugging along. Working with these Yoku blocks here. Not trusting the jet, maybe?
Probably feel about comfortable just going through it normal and saving the rush jet for the second part. But in the meanwhile, Sozeman is actually about to fight the Mega Mech Shark. All phases are weak to the laser trident. You're probably going to see the laser trident in the second. Well, no, actually that's good, because I was about to say something to this effect, because actually there are multiple ways to take out this second part. The tornado is actually probably one of the better choices. You can also use magma bazooka to deal double damage, but tornado blow is pretty a good and safe choice. And of course the third phase also weak to laser trident, so a good couple of shots and there you go, pretty good shark fight.
Very nice. Khanster's through the main Yoku block sections, does grab that E-Tank here. Gotta grab the E-Tank.
Alright, so let's see. So Wally 3, which technically I would like to say is the quote-unquote resident sleeper, but also a stage you shouldn't sleep on. So this stage, pretty much one of the major gimmicks is coming up in a few screens. It's this little rising gravity section where the only way to move is to use the recoil of the buster shots to move you to the left and right. But it's a very slow rising area, so it's pretty much just a little boring stretch of about 3 to 4 screens as Mega Man just rises to the top, where eventually he's just gonna do the normal platforming once you get to the next ladder. But after that, you're gonna be dealing with more tight platforming with some of these dangerous spike jumps, especially with spikes on the ceilings.
That's why Sozeman just took that hit there. In a real run, like high level runs, you're not even going to try to do that. You're just going to make the jump. It's not the worst jump in the world, but definitely in a race, you know, just take the hit. Peace of mind. You're not going to hit that spike.
Yeah, as I said, you do not want to sleep on this stage. Timing your jumps in some of the areas in Wally 3, you just got to be aware of your surroundings and aware of how you press your jump buttons, because the ceilings, kind of similar to Wally 2, they can be really, really low, and you can just find yourself easily getting hit with the spikes in an instant and just wasting your time. But what isn't a time waste is what Sozeman just did.
Yeah, that M-Tank is just free to grab. And, well, we've been using a lot of weapons as we've been going through these Wily stages, and just like, you know, most classic Mega Man games, you don't get that weapon energy back between stages. So we need more of it. Laser Trident here just has a huge vertical hitbox, which is going to come in handy a little bit more in Wily 4 even. But it has a piercing property as well, so it's going to kill the Joes, it's going to kill those cannons all in 3 hits. It's great for this section. The weapon drops he picked up aren't going to matter because we're going to use that M-Tank anyway, so it's actually good to get them. As long as you're ready for it. This is Twin Devil.
He's supposed to be easy. Let's see if Sozeman can prove that.
That's about the right time to shoot that first black hole. There's one hit. And you've seen it a couple of times from the runners here. You can pause cancel black hole bomb, which makes this fight very easy. It's actually, you know, we love saying easy devil. The timing for that's pretty tight. You do have to be able to pause, make sure the hit gets landed, and then pause cancel. It's very easy to pause the game and cancel a black hole bomb before he actually gets hit, and then you're not going to get it anymore. Khanster here, actually, we talked about black holes usage a little bit earlier, using it to clear out some of these middle screens of Tornado Man stage. I still like doing that myself, actually. It's just too useful.
Well, what could be useful is using the concrete to block these laser barriers, but yeah, one, we're low on it, and it's most faster to just trade damage and go through the lasers anyway. So at this point, as you can see, Sozeman is out of concrete. We're probably going to see the M10 uses very shortly, but he decides to hold on to it for a little bit. Unfortunately, while we were saying that, Khanster takes a nasty death and returns to the midpoint.
Yeah, he's low on jet ammo now too, so that's a really nasty death. Sozeman, because of that M-Tank, he's going to do that and jump up again. I said earlier in the run when he did the same thing, you probably won't see that in refights. He's proven me wrong.
Whatever it takes to get the fastest possible kill. But regardless of the matter, Galaxy Man is still not given the patterns that he was going to even jump up again. So Sozeman just putting Galaxy on notice.
Between 3 Galaxy fights so far on the stream, we have seen 0 swoops.
Perfect plug fight. No drops jewel satellites. Let's see if Tornado Man can be a little kinder. There we go. There's our Tornado Bro.
Nice. Khanster had a little trouble at the end of that battery section as well, but managed to do it. He's in a little trouble here with the umbrellas. Might want to use Jewel Satellite, in which case you just have to watch out for drops. Sozeman proving once again that Magma, there's not enough tornado ammo to take him out unless you manage to get a double hit. It's usually slower to work a double hit in on purpose than it is to just switch to, of all things, his own weapon. It's not that it does extra damage, but the stacking damage property, even at 1 hit point at a time to make it 2 hit points, is well worth it, especially because Hornet, who's weak to Magma, is right there. Magma is the ultimate backup in this game. There's a good jewel fight.
That was an excellent jewel fight. Khanster finally taking out Tornado Man as he's on his way to the Wally stages. Down goes Splash. Got concrete left. Let's see what RNG has for Sozeman in this fight. But at least it should be faster now that he has his weakness, the laser trident.
Yep, Concrete Man the second time is actually pretty much the same as Concrete the first time. You're still using a weapon you shoot across the screen to hit him. You're still dodging the same patterns, but this time you do 3 damage a shot instead of 1.
So this first phase of the Wily machine, he's going to continue to use the laser trident because of his larger hitbox, but the fact of the matter is you're still going to be reflecting the eggs about 3 times before they explode and it hit the bottom jawline, which is a weakness. Of course, you're still going to be attacking the jawline again in the second phase, but in this time you're going to be using the concrete shot to do the D. Well, at least as much as you can. Otherwise, you probably are going to be switching to Magma for the stacking effect. So here we go. The main part of the Wily fight and why we got to Casino to begin with.
It's why it's the Go for Broke tournament. Will Wily spawn low ever? Looks like he will here.
We got a couple of good low spawns. The Casino being more... that would have been another low spawn.
Very nice. I think he got that on 25 because you see the .07 there. And I'm seeing Polytopes mention it in chat. I'm going to at least look. What does the leaderboard say Soze's PB is?
Yeah,
It says it's a bigger number than that, so congrats.
Yeah, about to say it looks blue. I'm not seeing any red. Almost look like that's a PB in a race. If someone can confirm. In the meantime, we do have an official SRL time of 34 minutes and 27 seconds. Sozeman finishing first place in this race.
Yeah, congrats to Soze, GG there, and we're gonna follow Khanster through the rest of this run.
Actually, Khanster has decided to forfeit the race, so we can just move on to the next race. But GG's for Khanster for continuing as far as he can in race 1, but this is still a best of 3. He does have at least a couple of more chances to try to catch up and get a victory on the board. So we're going to move on from race 1 and get race 2 started shortly.
Yep. Any thoughts on that first race?
Sozeman was pretty much on the money for a large majority of his run. It's going to be kind of tough to see Khanster pulling it out, but the fact of the matter is this is Mega Man 9, a game where mistakes can happen at any given time, at any given place. All Khanster may need to do is just stay his course and play his game and let Sozeman and Mega Man 9 make the mistakes. If that happens, then Khanster actually could still have a chance to eke a victory out. But if Sozeman continues his pace that he has right now, it's going to be probably another set and a long line of 2-0s in this tournament.
Yeah, kind of weird. Even like with all the RNG in this game, we've had a lot of 2-0s so far. Khanster, admittedly, kind of joining this tournament to lower that PB in the first place. He's been bringing it down a lot. Soze's been bringing it down a lot as well. So the results so far, not completely surprising, but you look at what's going on with Khanster here in that first race, there's a lot of jumps where he's taking deaths, and he's just missing it. So the potential's definitely there. I'm not like worried that Khanster, he can definitely pull through here and put up a good time and give Soze a run for his money. But if Soze puts up anything even close to another 34, oh my goodness. I mean, I'm trying to think what even went wrong in that race for Soze. That was the one where everything went right and the casino liked him. So
yeah, I can't really think of a mistake that Sozeman has done in this particular run. So yeah, it's pretty much Soze's to work with. So he's pretty much his own enemy in this particular race.
Yeah, the only other thing that happened is Soze, like we said, we saw 3 Galaxy Man fights and we saw 0 swoops. So if you're looking for Sozeman's 33 potential in the next run, you're looking for Galaxy Man to be nicer, you're looking for Tornado Man to be a bro the first time through. Sozeman did in Magma Man stage. It's the one criticism I could almost have. The second lava beam, he froze it, he jumped under it, and he didn't do anything with the third one, which means he saved maybe like 1/10 of a second overall. I don't know if that was a race situation and not wanting to go for it, or just, you know, discretion being the better part of valor. Also near the end, you know, he took 2 attempts to get that zip. I'm really just searching for, like, if he gets those things, he's going to be dangerously close to 33 territory. So it looks like everybody's kind of getting ready here. And now we do want to remind everybody, this is a best of 3 tournament, and we don't have these tournaments without the runners, whether it's folks PBing down the 33 department like Soze is, or folks that are here just to kind of, you know, get with the community, really bring those times down. Follow our runners. Sozeman and Khanster786, spelled just like they are on the screen, twitch.tv/those names. Go ahead, give them a follow. Go ahead, follow SpeedGaming as well, as we're kind of waiting here for the next thing to start up. No.
Yeah, we should be getting started in a little bit. The countdown just went down SRL, so we should be seeing it come on stream very shortly.
Yeah, I don't think so.